Good morning, everyone. I can't believe I'm saying it's morning since, we're close to noon, but welcome to the Art of Cooking Well with St. Luke's Bariatric Nutrition Department. My name is Amber Beebe, and soon we'll be joined by Jen Hosier in the kitchen. We are so excited. I know that those of you that come every month, I'm always excited because it's so fun to cook, and we always cook such good food. And I'm not bragging. It's just when you cook whole foods and you add some garlic and olive oil, and man, today is August Garden Fresh Goodies. We just want to let you know that this class is being recorded. So if you have friends or family members, or I know I was trying to get my mom to log in today, it is totally a great idea to just pass that along. And they're usually up within a week. And then if you're like, hey, someone's, my mom needs a recipe from March of 2025, just send us an email at bariatricsupport@slhs.org, and we'll get those recipes to you. We want to let you know also that even if you have your screen on, we get everything blurred out nowadays. So we don't even have to give you the whole spiel about having your name and all that stuff on there. But please do keep your microphones muted because it is really distracting and hard for people listening or ourselves. Me, I definitely get distracted easily. So, and then if you have a question, we love questions, we love interaction. Just either raise your virtual hand or just type it in the virtual chat. Okay, I think we're ready. We're going to send it on over to Jen Hosier in the kitchen and see what she's got cooking up for us today.
Hey, everybody. It's Jen in the kitchen. How are you guys doing? Happy August. Happy making it through the summer with minimal 100-degree days, which is awesome. And we are here, at that point in the summer where a lot of what we planted in the spring is really coming to harvest, depending on what it is. And so we really wanted to have some recipes that will help you make use of some of that. Be tasty, be not too hard, really be healthy, of course, for you as well, because, we're dietitians, so we have to do that too. So what we're going to start with, and stick with me on this one, okay? Promise it's good, is a salad pizza. Okay, I know. What? That sounds weird, but I'm telling you, it's going to be really, really good. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our crust, and we already made ours. So we kind of have one of those modified fathead dough kind of recipes that you can find out on the interwebs. And what you do with that guy is you melt some mozzarella cheese in a bowl, usually 2 minutes, maybe 2.5. I usually stir about every minute or so just to get it kind of melty and coming together so that you can kind of stir it's getting sticky together. And then what you want to do is put all your dry ingredients in another bowl. So you're going to have some almond flour, you're going to have some baking powder, some xanthan gum, some salt. We like to add some garlic powder and some Italian seasonings. That just kind of adds a little extra flavor. It kind of goes well with this vibe. And you get that all stirred together, and then you pour that into the bowl with your melted mozzarella and 1 egg, and you just work it. I worked it with a spoon. Amber did it the last time, and she got in there with her hands and worked it all together. So either way is fine, but you are going to get a dough that comes together, which you will then roll out in between 2 pieces of parchment paper, get it all nice and flat, kind of make it your nice little circle. And then we're going to put it in the oven, 15, 18 minutes, somewhere around there, until it's done. And then we get that. And I gotta tell you, this is a favorite crust of mine. I was just telling Amber as we were getting all this stuff put together, I was like, I'm going to batch make some of these for home. So when we have pizza night, we have like some really good, healthy, high protein pizza crust already ready to go. And then we can do a build your own pizza. Boom, it's ready to go. So this is our crust. We've got that waiting in the wings right over there. Now we're going to get some other items ready to go. And I already started that. So what I've got here in my saucepan is a thinly sliced red bell pepper. I've got about 1/2 of a red onion sliced as well. About 1.5 cups of some sliced mushrooms. We just bought those at the store, of course. And then you got about 4 ounces of some thinly sliced ham. Put a little olive oil in here. And we just set that to saute. So we've kind of got some nice, a little partially brown. That's kind of how I like mine personally. And so I kind of let it sit here a little bit longer just to really kind of get some good browning going. So that is also sitting here doing its good work while we keep going. It is a salad pizza. So we're gonna have some salad on top. All right, but what we've got here is some rough chopped spinach, a couple of cups of rough chopped spinach, and about a cup of some rough chopped kale as well. We're gonna kind of tenderize it a little bit. What we've got here is just a couple tablespoons of some like a creamy garlic dressing. You can buy that at the store. You can kind of make your own if you want to come up with something, but this will add a lot of flavor. And so we're going to toss this in here, and I'm just going to let that, I don't know, just kind of sit and tenderize a little bit. Spinach is not too bad. You know, spinach is pretty tender. It's going to cook down and soften really easily. But kale is a little, I'm going to say earthy. Yeah. And it can be a little tough. And so kale works really well if you can put some kind of oil / vinegar and kind of rub it, give it a little massage, and it will tenderize a little bit for you. And then it, tastes better. And it's also just a little bit more gentle when you're actually chewing it and digesting it, quite honestly. So that's what we've got here now. Just kind of toss this all together. And then the one other magical topping, marinated artichoke hearts. We got about a 6-ounce jar here. I rough chopped them a little bit. You can leave them whole if you want to. It really kind of depends on what you prefer. We thought this time we'll just go ahead and chop them up a little bit so they kind of spread out more onto our pizza. And then, of course, we have some cheese. All right, this is pizza. All right, so let's do this. All right, so let's go ahead.
You can't have too much cheese.
You can't have too much cheese. Some people might say you can have too much cheese. I'm sure cardiologists will say you can have too much cheese, but I mean, we like cheese. It's protein. It tastes good. I know for a lot of our patients, it ends up being kind of an easy way to increase their protein intake in a day, just because it usually settles a little bit better in their stomach. And so that just kind of a happier way. If you're getting all your protein from cheese sticks, we should talk. But if you're getting some of your protein from cheese, it is fine. And in this case, we have a high protein crust, and then we are going to add a little bit more on because we do have some ham, we have some cheese. So it's a pretty solid pizza, I would say. So before I put my toppings on, I would suggest spreading a little bit more of that garlicky, creamy dressing on top of the crust as a sauce. You don't have to. You could even just do an olive oil. You could do like a white Alfredo kind of a bit, just give it a little something, but it adds an extra layer of flavor and we really like it. So that's what we are doing. So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start adding all of this on. So we'll start with our greens, right? Greens are good for you. And if we can make greens taste good, some people love greens. Are there big fans of greens out there? Or do we have people who are like, I got to dress it up to choke it down? I guess I'm taking a poll.
Yep, we're taking that.
This is a very green pizza.
Angel says she loves them.
Yeah.
I realize I don't hear me mine. Go ahead.
They're good. All right, we're going to get our next layer of flavor going here. Just going to go ahead and kind of spread this around. That's some good color. Yes. This is so good. So good. So I'm going to spread this around. Got to spread the love, right? Got to spread the love. Oh, that mushroom got away. There we go. Let's put it back. Everyone needs to be on the pizza. Everyone. There we go. All right. And then our artichoke hearts. So we're going to spread these around as well. This is a pretty stout pizza. Like, it's thick. It's really, really stout. I love it.
It will cook down though.
It does. This is true. Amber says it will cook down, and that is true. It's not quite as stacked as it is right now. And then, of course, we got to put a little more cheese, right? We want to have a little bit of melty cheese on top. So, about a half cup-ish or so, a little bit more cheese. I mean, we don't need a ton because we do have cheese in the crust. So we just kind of want a little bit on top to kind of give it that pizza-y kind of a vibe. I'm all sticky from the artichokes. Okay, so this is going to go into the oven. And really, we're just kind of warming it, melting it, kind of reducing it down a little bit, 5 or 10 minutes. So you don't want to leave it in there too long. And then dinner is ready. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pop this guy into the oven. We're going to take a little bit of a break. And we're going to come back for round 2. All right, see y'all in a couple minutes.
I'm back. You know, I like to take an opportunity sometimes in the beginning of the class, even before I send it over to Jen, but usually the first break. We really love having you come. Let me just first say that it makes it so much more exciting when we have more participants in our classes. And some of you are new joining us, and you might not even know how many great classes we have. So the good news is we record these. So if you can't, I know a lot of people are working at 11 to 12 on a Friday, which, you know, we are too. That's why we're doing it at this time, right? But we also have these amazing topical classes every other month called our Healthy Living series. Not only, right, am I partial because I just taught a whole series on gut health, but I also understand that some of them are topics that are really helpful to all of us, whether we've had surgery or not. And our next one is going to be in September. It starts September 2nd, and Jen is going to be teaching it, and it's all about your brain, right? Which is crazy. Here we are, a weight loss clinic. We're talking about our brain. It's about mind your brain matter, how your brain works, and how to make it work better. Hey, we can all use help on that. And so September 2nd is brain matter. That's the main topic. It's going to be exercise, survival, and wiring. And again, these are 11:30 to 12 every Tuesday. So of the month of September, the series is 4 weeks long. And our goal, our boss's wish, is to get all of our healthy living classes up on YouTube, because that is also a time where people can't make it and they want to be able to watch the videos, right? And then September 9th is attention, short-term memory, and long-term memory. I'm excited about all of these, really. And then September 16th, sleep, stress, and sensory integration. Uh-oh, those are some big words, Jennifer. I don't know. Sensory integration. Okay. And then this one I'm very curious about. It's called Vision, Gender, and Exploration. I'm guessing about our gender differences in our brains. That's what I'm thinking it has to do with. Anyway, that's September 23rd. So those are every other month. So we have that one in September. And then in November, I'll be teaching vitamins and minerals, right? We got to review those once a year. It's really great. The unsung heroes, those nutrients that we need. And then we always do a habits class in January. That's our signature. That one's a little longer, an hour every Tuesday. But these are really great classes. Again, I'm not bragging on myself. They're just really great. So some of us want to stay in touch. We want to be a part of the bariatric program, and it really does help with the success of your life, right? As far as healthy lifestyle changes. So I encourage you to come. If you're not sure how to hang up, you're like, well, great, Amber, thanks for telling me. You can either type it in the chat, hey, sign me up, or you can send us an email to bariatricsupport@slhs.org, and we will be putting that email up throughout the class. I had it on the first slide, so we'll have it up there. All right, back to kitchen. Jen's ready. We're moving on.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. We are back in the kitchen, and we're moving on to dessert, because this is one's got to go in the oven as well. So I want to make sure we get that guy going. And this is going to be just a summer plum custard. Okay, so plum trees are kind of around a lot. And you know, it's a great way. Dessert is a great way to use up some of those plums. And so, of course, we've made a lower sugar version of this for you. And so what I've got is plums from my plum tree in my backyard, right? So we're legit. We're actually pulling stuff from our own gardens. But they're the little guys. They're like the ping pong polish guys size, but I cut them up. So they're ready to go. And what we're going to do is we need to put together our custard batter. And this is going to be really easy, right? It's going to go into a blender. You're going to whip it up. You're going to pour it into your little cups or your container. And that's pretty much it. So really pretty quick and easy. So what I've got here in my blender cup is I've got a cup of milk. I've got a 1/4 cup of some heavy cream. So just a little bit extra creaminess. there. And then I also added in the 6 eggs. I already cracked those before class because it's messy. So we've got these all ready to go. So now we need to add some flavors. So I've got a couple tablespoons of some vanilla extract. And then we wanted to add a little bit of cherry extract. You don't have to, but it will kind of help lift up the plum flavor in the custard. So we did put some of that in there as well. So up to you what you want to do with that. We got to have our seasonings. So we got some cinnamon, we got some nutmeg, and of course we have some salt because salt is a flavor enhancer. So not a lot of salt, just a little bit. So we're going to pour that in there. And then of course we need a little bit of sweet. So we got about 1/3 of a cup of some brown sugar sweetener, and that's going to plunk in there as well. There we go. Basically, I'm just going to blend this up. I'm going to make sure I want to get it securely. Yes, we don't need a mess, right, Amber? No one wants that. All right, so I'm going to use my little NutriBullet here, my little mini. Okay. Boom. Thank you, Mr. Blender. You can wait over there. All right, so we've got our batter now. If you have a normal size blender, you can just add the almond flour in. Okay, so I've got, I think it's 1.5 cups. Am I reading my recipe right here? No, 1 cup. I've got 1 cup of some almond flour in here. The easiest way would be to add it into your blender and then just blend that in and then you're done. But my little kind of bullet blender just isn't big enough to hold everything. So I'm going to pour it into a bowl and I'm going to whisk it all together here. And then we're going to get it into our little cup. So I've got some pre-greased silicone muffin cups over here. So we've got our cute little, I would say if you have silicone, these are the easiest way to get these out. If you don't, I mean, either way we grease them. So you want to put a little butter into your little muffin tin. But if you have silicone ones, they do pop out so much easier. If you have just kind of the standard metal ones, might take a little bit more coaxing to get them out of there. All right, so we've got that. There, that looks like a good place to put that, right? And then we got to put our plums in. So I'm just going to put some plums into the bottoms of all of these. So these are just my little very well ripened plums. And I'm just going to plop a few. If you were using a larger, like a pie pan or, you know, an 8x8 or something kind of like that, you just pour these and spread them over the bottom and do it that way, and they'll work just fine with that. But I'm just going to put a few in the bottom. Mine are really ripe, so some of these are squishy. There we go. But they're going to taste really good. Yes, squishy and juicy. All right, I'm making such a mess, Amber, such a mess with my hands. There we go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a measuring cup to pour. If you have a really nice pourable mixing bowl, that would be easier. I'm just going to use a measuring cup and we're going to do it that way. And we're just going to fill them up. These really don't expand. So I would fill them up pretty full, maybe not quite 100% full, but pretty close. And then you're done, right? Then you've done it. All you got to do is pop them in the oven and then they're ready to go. Oops, I made that one kind of full. That might spill a little bit. That's okay. That's all right. We're in the kitchen. We're making messes. Totally fine. Amber will clean it up after I'm done. I'm just kidding. I'll help. Of course. All right, we got our last one. Okay, so that's it. I've got a little bit left over, but that's not too bad. Just a tiny bit. You could put that in another container if you want to just put that in. But these are going to need 20-ish minutes or so, you know, depending on your oven, but 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. And what you want to make sure is that when you put a knife in one, when you pull it out, it comes out clean. That is going to tell you that they are done enough that you can go ahead and pull them out of the oven. So we are going to get these in the oven. I think my pizza is talking to me. Oh, let's pull the pizza out, people. It's going to keep beeping at me. Okay. Got it. Let's go ahead and pull this guy out. And I'll just go ahead and show you what I got. Oops, close that. I'll let all the heat out. Ready? Can you see it? Ta-da! There we go. It's kind of hot. Nice, melty, chewy, salty, all the things you want with a pizza. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna get these in the oven. We're gonna take another little break. And then I'll be back again for round 3. All right, people, see you in a minute.
Okay, everyone, those of you that joined us last month, you know, we've been really focusing on this aim for 30 plants type of thing. And you won't believe it, that one that we just did, the pizza, the salad pizza. I mean, maybe you would believe it. I counted 10 plants, okay? 10 plants in just one of your meals. We want to try to get 30 plants a week. That's pretty good that we got to 10. Pretty awesome. So obviously, some of you might not even realize what counts as a plant. So the 30 plants a week challenge encourages individuals to consume at least 30 different plant-based foods each week. And this is to improve our gut health and our overall well-being. It includes, of course, fruits and vegetables, beans, otherwise known as legumes, nuts, seeds, whole grains, herbs, and spices. Although if you've had bariatric surgery, obviously we recommend that you minimize the whole grains. But herbs and spices are also on there. The goal is to diversify your diet, right, and increase the intake of essential nutrients, especially fiber and some of those phytonutrients. So all fruits and vegetables, beans, lentils, chickpeas, nut seeds, even chia, flax, hemp, things like quinoa, brown rice, if you haven't had surgery before, herbs and spices of all contribute to this, right? And so what they're finding, and this is why you'll be seeing more and more of this type of thing, and we're going to count every recipe. So we are, and there are some overlaps, right? We use garlic in a couple recipes, so that's going to be each recipe. Let's say you just make the salad pizza, there's 10 plants in it. That's pretty cool. You're trying to get to 30 a week. But the key is that it improves our gut microbiome. It's so huge. In my series last month, that was one of the things that kept happening over and over again. People were like, well, can I take a probiotic? Well, you can, but you want to make sure that you're looking up ones, unless you ask us for a list, that are stomach acid resistant, right? Because then they'll just break down in your stomach and it won't even go to your gut, your small intestine and large intestine. So you got to be careful on that. It's better to eat plant foods. It really is. Those of you early surgery, like just had surgeries, obviously you probably could be in full liquid, so you're not having any plants, but even early on, you're barely able to get much in. So that's also hard. But adding herbs and spices are a great way to add to that plant total. So if it seems daunting to have 30, start with 15 to 20 and gradually increase. And just get creative and go online and check out things and see what ways you can do that. And as far as the plum one, sorry, that one doesn't have very many. I think we have 2 to 3 plants in that one. So far, we're at 12 to 13. And it looks like we're heading for another big plant one. More garden fresh goodies with Jen Hosier here in the kitchen. I'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, so on to recipe number 3, trying to use up the madness that is coming from our gardens. And we definitely have pretty good use of some vegetables here. So this is our summer zucchini tomato salad, because if you planted a zucchini plant, God bless you, you probably have zucchinis coming out your ears, or your neighbor does, and they're just trying to give them away, right? So we're going to try and make some use out of that. You know, there's some of the stereotypical, like, I'll shred it and freeze it to make, you know, whatever, zucchini bread later, or I'll chop it up and saute it, right? So there's some things we can do with zucchini. But with this one, we thought, you know what? we'll make a salad. You know, vegetables are made out, or salads are made out of different vegetables. So we're going to make a salad, and we're going to make it kind of fun and cool and kind of pretty. And so we're going to look at that here. But first, we do want to make a dressing. This is going to be kind of a light, a little bit citrusy kind of a dressing. It is a vinaigrette. So what I've got here in my jar, in my stirring jar, is I've got some olive oil, some white wine vinegar, and some lemon juice, 2 tablespoons each. And then we're going to add our other flavors in here. So I've got a garlic clove. I've got a couple leaves of some basil that we just kind of sliced up. And then we've got about half of a shallot that's going to go in here. And so full disclosure, the basil came from Mish, our manager's garden. She's got some basil, and so we're going to use that today. And we're going to put all of these in. Maybe. Go. Get in there. Yeah. Get in there. Garlic. Oh, I just put the garlic on my finger. You know what? I'm going to smell like garlic forever. No vampires here. All right, so you can, of course, you can just do this in a bowl, but I kind of like the jar. It's easy. It's going to shake it up really good. And that will wait right there. It will rest while we work. So now we need to get the rest of these pieces of the salad put together. So what we did is we took a couple zucchinis, which are from Amber's garden. Yay for that. So we got very fresh zucchinis. And what we're doing is we're ribboning it. And that sounds fancy, but all we're doing is we're just taking the vegetable peeler and we're just gonna right through this guy until about you hit the core. You know, and then you want to stop because then it gets kind of, the texture is a little weird and the seeds are coming through. And so we are not taking the peel off. We are using the peel. That adds a little color, which I think is nice, quite honestly. And so we've got this mostly ribboned off. And I'm just going to finish it up. So that's all you got to do. It's really pretty easy. And then again, once you kind of start to hit the middle, I'm trying to waste not, want not. I'm trying to get it all. That's good. And then we're done with it. Or, I don't know, do dogs eat zucchini? You can save it for your dog or your chickens maybe?
Your dog probably does.
My dog probably would. She stands in the kitchen and watches me make everything, hoping that I will drop a lettuce leaf or a tomato or a berry. Anything, even an onion. I dropped an onion once and I was like, no, you're not supposed to eat that. I didn't want to kill my dog. Alrighty, so we got our zucchinis, about 6 or so more large basil leaves, sliced rather thin. We're gonna put those in there. We're gonna get this guy mixed up. I'm just gonna kind of stir those up a little bit so they're stirred together. And then we're gonna go ahead and put these two friends, these two green friends, on our plate, platter, whatever you're planning on serving this on, a big bowl if you want to do that. We've got a big plate, a big purple plate, kind of shows the color, I think, a little bit better. All right, so some of my zucchini noodles or ribbons that kind of want to stick out, and I don't like that. We're gonna get it, there we go. All right, so we got our zucchinis, and then we're gonna have some tomatoes, you know, and a cup or so of some cherry tomatoes halved. These are from my garden, so these are also very fresh. We just picked these yesterday, so we cut those in half. And, oh, now that tomato's trying to get away. Come on. There we go. So I'm just gonna spread these over. We're gonna add our color with our red. And then 5 or 6 ounces of some fresh mozzarella, cubed or cut into pieces, or if you get the mozzarella pearls, you know, that works as well. So I'm just gonna kind of spread these delightful little hunks over as well. So we kind of have this nice, like, green, red, white kind of a vibe and look going on. And then all we gotta do is we just gotta pour this dressing over the top. So we're just gonna pour it over, and then that's it. You're done. Put it on the table, you know? Very basil-y. Lot more vegetables. Amber's probably going to count these vegetables too. So we got a little bit more coming. but the smell is really amazing. Just with, the vinegar and the shallot and then the basil that really comes out of this guy. Man, it is fantastic. So I think this will be a winner. I would definitely give this one a try on, folks. It looks pretty. It's good for you. A lot of good flavor. There we go. I'll hold it out. All right, brilliant. So, man, we're just banging through things today. We're going to go ahead and set this guy aside, and we're going to take another little break, and we're going to start getting ready for round 4, which I think you're going to like. It's a fun one. It's out on the interwebs. All right, you guys, see you in a minute.
Sorry, I'm ready for our next break. We've got to put up some of the foods we're doing right now. Some zucchini and tomato and basil. Not that it matters, but the zucchini is my neighbor's. I do have lots of lettuce in my garden that I think it got a little too hot for it. Seeded out a little faster than I thought, but it's my first year growing lettuce, so I didn't know that it could happen. So that might need a shadier spot next year. But basil is one of my favorite things, favorite herbs. And so I'm going to talk about basil a little bit. The YouTube channel, yes. In fact, I will type that in there for you here in just a minute. Maybe when we go back to the kitchen with Jen, I'll type it in. And so that you have the exact link, because that can be really helpful. There is like 2 years worth of cooking videos in there. So we have a lot of good stuff in there. So anyway, back to basil. One of my favorite smells. I don't know about you guys, but it really is an amazing smell. And there, of course, I feel like every time I talk about the nutritional value of things, right? It helps so many things. It can help with your blood health because it does increase your vitamin K. So it can help you with blood clotting, which is pretty cool. And it also helps against cell damage, which any of the fruits and vegetables with all the antioxidants in there, it's not surprising that it helps protect us from free radicals, which is just in the air we breathe and the shampoos we use and different things like that. It also can help with preventing cancer. Again, this is also with a lot of the plants. Focusing on those plants can really, really help with all of those things. And then the one that I am always interested in, just because of our clientele and even myself, with some blood sugar control. So the basil has also, in lab studies, right, it helps manage blood sugar. And this is kind of hard because you're like, well, how much do I need to eat? Well, I think the bottom line is, as we go forward, you kind of have to take a step back. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we really just need to eat more vegetables, even for health, like weight loss. They're low in calories. They fill us up. They're high in fiber, right? So it's kind of a no-brainer when we think about it. So it's not a matter of like, oh, you need to eat like 3 cups of basil a day to help you with blood sugars. That's not what it means. Just like adding more of those healthy foods, improving our health, right? And so how do we include it? It is best to get fresh. A lot of people will like think, oh, I need to take a supplement for it. And these can be really concentrated. And so you want to make sure that, let's say you're on a blood thinner and you take like a basil supplement that you check with your doctor, because some of them can kind of go against medications if you take a supplement. So it is better to have fresh or dried basil when you're cooking. Yeah, so that is what we're going to do. So you all want to know, I know you're all waiting to hear the plant total. Unless you have your recipes printed out and in front of you, the summer zucchini tomato salad that we just made has 8 plants. So far we're at 20. Some of those overlap, I will say. Sorry, the garlic, olive oil, some of those things overlap a little bit. So we're repeating them because you might not make all of these things at the same time, right? So this is a separate 8 plants that we're doing. So I think Jen's ready for the last recipe. Yes?
Okay, everyone, back in the kitchen. Hello. We're moving on to the last one. And this is kind of our own version of one of the current-ish viral trends, which is a cottage cheese bowl, which actually is really great. I think a cottage cheese bowl is a great idea. Cottage cheese is super easy, and you can flavor it in a lot of different ways. Some restaurants are doing cottage cheese bowls, like Zupa's has a couple different cottage cheese bowl flavor profiles that they put together. So it's a really kind of a fun way to mix it up, but still kind of keep it fairly easy for yourself. We jazzed it up a little bit this time, but it can make several servings. And so if you're sharing it with the family, or if you need to make it and you want it to last for a few days, then it's a great option. And of course, we're using things from our gardens. All right, so first of all, we needed to prep our sweet potatoes. So we bought, I'll flat out be honest with you, we bought some pre-cut, pre-cubed sweet potato. And so we've got that here. And what we did is we tossed that with some oil. We put some seasonings on there. We've got some onion powder, some garlic powder, of course, some salt. We got a little bit of paprika. You can put a little bit of pepper on there. You just toss that all together, and you can lay it out on a lined baking sheet and put it in your oven at 400 degrees and you're roasting it. Or if you want to use your air fryer, which is great in the summer, then you can pop it into there. Just know that the air fryer usually will cook it faster. And so you won't likely need as much time. But that's what we got then, is we got these nice little flavorful cubes. There we go, that's better. Of our sweet potato. So is sweet potato starchy? Yes, but it's okay because we're not using a ton. You know, about a quarter cup or so is going to go into our bowl with our other items. And it's another plant food, so we'll give it its day. So we've got that already prepared. And then we've got some more protein in addition to our cottage cheese, and that is going to be our taco meat. So we're going to kind of do a taco bowl, cottage cheesy, salsa-y kind of a vibe here. And so ground beef, ground chicken, ground turkey, whatever you prefer, quite honestly. But we did put a couple tablespoons of some taco seasoning in there. And so this time I've got a pound of some ground chicken that I seasoned with the taco seasoning and pre-cooked. And so we've got that one all ready to go and done over here as well. And then of course we need to have our cottage cheese. So we've got that here hanging out, just waiting to be used. We're going to have some avocado. We're going to put that on top. Another plant food, really good for you. We've got some pickled jalapenos. I mean, you could go regular jalapenos, but pickled jalapenos are going to add a little bit of heat, but not a lot, and kind of that nice briny kind of a flavor. And so that just matches really well with the flavor profile that we've got going on here. And then we're going to add some sauce. I mean, sauce is awesome, right? So we're going to make and put ourselves together a little bit of sauce. So I'm going to do that right now. So I've got my bowl, and what we've got here is we've got a mixture of some mayonnaise and some sour cream. So I've got a half a cup of mayonnaise that I'm going to put into my bowl, and then about a third a cup of my sour cream. All right, so really nice and creamy. That's what this is going to be, as a little, we'll call it a drizzle on top of your bowl. And then we got to add some zing and a little pep, right? So we got some lime juice and we've got some hot sauce. So we're going to put that in and get my hot sauce going in there. Yeah. And then it really does taste better if we have a little bit of garlic. So we've just got some garlic powder going in here. Okay. And let's see, I'll just use, actually, I'm going to use my whisk. I got my whisk right here. You know what? Let's just use the whisk because I think that'll be better for this guy. Don't fall down. There we go. So we're just going to whisk this together. Just going to, stir it up really well. And this is going to be a great sauce for this bowl. If you guys do any other kind of taco night, fish taco night, pork, chicken tacos, so you do anything like that, a lot of people, they'll lay out taco bar, I guess you could say, and their family members will make tacos, and then oftentimes our patients will make kind of like a taco salad or a taco bowl for themselves. And this is just a really nice flavorful sauce that can go with a lot of those. So really, really nice. Okay, I think I got it all stirred together there. Perfect. And then what we're going to do is we'll drizzle that on top of our bowl. So let's get our bowl put together here, right? Where's my bowl? Here's my bowl. So this is kind of a big bowl. Some of you might need to use a smaller bowl, but this is what I've got today. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in, it's about a quarter of your sweet potato. So not a ton. I mean, really, this is your bowl. Make your bowl how you want your bowl to be. Just know that, you know, we made the nutrition information on the bowl based on what we did. So you might have to make some edits if you are tracking for yourself, but you know, you can always do a little bit more or less. And so it's going to be about a half a cup-ish of, yeah, of our cottage cheese. So again, you can make that more or less based on the protein need that you happen to have. Sorry, my plums are talking to me. My plum custards. Whoa, those are pretty good. I think they might be ready. Stand by, people. Let's go ahead and get these guys out of here. They're getting a little brown on the top. So let's see if they're really, really ready. Oh, it's looking pretty good. Amber's going to get me a knife so we can give it a test.
Like some of the stuff burnt a little on the side.
Some of it's, yeah, some of it's a little burny on the side, but we'll test this one right here.
Wherever you put the stove, flip it. And get done.
Yeah, they're not quite done. They're going back. Okay, we'll flip it.
Yeah. Whatever that way was.
All right, we're gonna flip it down. We'll give it another couple minutes. We don't want too long. Let's see, let's do 2. I know it's gonna interrupt me in 2 minutes again, but that's okay. All right, so we want to get it right, and they do need to be done, just not too done. But they're gonna sit a little bit longer. All right, so let's get our meat. We'll get our taco meat. You know, we used a pound, so you can use about a quarter of the meat. But again, make it the size that you need to make it. Okay, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. So I've just kind of got these thirded up in my bowl. And then we've got to add our avocado. So I'm going to get a couple slices of some avocado put in here. You know, so maybe a quarter-ish of an avocado to go into your bowl. Gotta have the pickled jalapenos. Okay, so question, because my husband loves pickled jalapenos, and so we actually grew some jalapenos. We grow jalapeno plants, and then we like to pickle them. Also, my favorite thing is to cut them in half and pull the seeds out, and then stuff them with cream cheese and wrap them in bacon, and then put them in the smoker. It's so good, and you can actually freeze them that way, so you can just come out later in the season, or like, you know, when it's wintertime, you can just pull those suckers out, put them on a baking sheet, or put them in a metal dish that you have and put it in the smoker or put it in the oven. They're fantastic. But pickled jalapenos are actually really, really easy. So that's a great way to make use of your jalapenos. You can leave the seeds in, you can take them out, whatever kind of heat you happen to like. All right, so I'll stop talking about jalapenos. So the other topping that we need to talk about is our garden fresh salsa. All right, so we made a really awesome homemade chunky pico de gallo, basically is kind of what we got here. So we've got 5 Roma tomatoes. You do want to cut those and pull the seeds and that middle section out. And then we go ahead and chopped those up. We used a jalapeno from my garden. Thank you very much. We seeded that and cored that as well. So we've got that in here, about a half of an onion, yellow or white, whatever you prefer or whatever you have. But that's gone in here as well. And then we've got 3 garlic cloves. Of course, we got a little bit of salt and then a little bit of lime juice because that really kind of makes everything pop. So we just stirred that all together, and now you have this really great salsa. Oh, and some cilantro. You can't go without the cilantro. So I'm going to use this really huge spoon because it's what I have. So we're going to put, yes, I'm telling you guys, it's a really great combo. We've got our garden fresh salsa on here as well. And then we took some of our sauce that we made. We put it in a squeezy bottle because it's just easier. And so I'm just going to, maybe, there we go. Yeah, nice. So not a lot, all right? We're not going crazy here. So maybe a tablespoon or so of the sauce on top. All right, we're gonna hold it up. Here it is. Ta-da! All right, you got all of the good flavors in there. Really, this is, I don't know, I would say this is my favorite, but they're all really good. Like the pizza is also my favorite, so they're all my favorite. All right, so the plums are talking to me again. We're going to go ahead and check on those. We're going to take a commercial break and to pull everything out together again and show you everything. And then we'll call it a day. All right, you guys, peace out. See you in a minute.
All right. There's a little picture of the peaches. We didn't do anything with peaches, but we did with plums, right? We could have. I have so many peaches. Maybe next month we'll have some add on to the plant theme. So that last one we did not give you, but it's the winner for plants today, everyone. 16 plants. 16, 10 for the bowl and 6 for the salsa. Some of those, actually, now that I said that, no, I don't think they were overlapped. Maybe hang on. Hold on just a second. No, because I use garlic powder. I'm not counting garlic and garlic powder as one. Maybe I should. Okay, hang on. Hold that thought really quick. Okay, lime. So -1, 2. That's it. So 14. That might have tied with the first one. No, the first one was 12 to 13. There we go. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about in our last break, while we kind of get everything together, is that the reason why we're focusing on the Garden Fresh is not just because we're trying to push this plant thing, 30 plants a week thing. It's also because Garden Fresh vegetables and fruits are superior to the store-bought because they're picked when they're ripe. So many times in the grocery store, things are actually harvested when they're quite hard and they don't have the same nutrients in them. So we have more fresh, we've got higher nutritional value, flavor, all of that. And then also having them locally grown is also beneficial because we're getting just, we're saving fossil fuel from traveling to the store because we have it right next door, right? I mean, I'm not going to talk about all that stuff, right? That's a whole nother political topic I'm not going to get into. But as far as why we're focusing on it and why it smells so good and it's so healthy for us is because it is garden fresh. And also, it's a stress relieving activity to have a garden and to really promote mindfulness and a connection to nature, even if you have a small space. We used to always try to garden when we lived in Central Oregon, and it was just too cold. It was just too cold. So even though it's been a hot summer, we're very grateful that heat has provided some great bounty in the gardens. And so it can also be rewarding, right? Around here, I mean, the lettuce seed, I literally put seed in the ground. Yes, we watered it. And the sun and everything took care of the rest, and we had amazing lettuce. So that's always my inspiration is when you can literally stick a seed in the ground. Or like potatoes, you put a potato in the ground and then it grows like 40 potatoes. It's pretty amazing. At least we did the little red ones. And then also carrots usually I do really well with, but this year, I don't know if there was a bug that ate all my seeds, but no carrots this year. So anyway, it is our honor to bring this sort of foods to you. And we're excited to show you the end product. Again, making sure that you sign up for these classes. I could have signed you up in a visit. Perhaps I see a couple of familiar faces that I'm pretty sure I signed up. But if that runs out on your My Chart, don't think you're done. Like, you can come every month. You just got to send us an email and we'll have that email at the end. Right now, I'm going to send you to YouTube. Okay, I put the link in the chat. So if you didn't see it, scroll up to the link. You go to the St. Luke's Health System, YouTube, you click on playlist. And then when you click on playlist, it will say bariatric nutrition. You can see Jen there, one of our Italian themed months. And then you click on view full playlist. And then that way you can click on, we got a lot of classes in there. We will soon be having healthy living, but right now it's just cooking classes. And I think starting strong, which you guys are all way beyond. And then on our St. Luke's Bariatric Nutrition page, where you scroll down, you see Jen and I, pictures of us. You'll see all of our classes there. Like, oh, what were those classes she was talking about? They're all there. What time they are as far as the standard. We have them kind of always at the standard. Okay, we're moving on. We're going to go back and see what is in the kitchen for all of us. And I'll be back to say our thank yous and goodbyes.
Okay, so we have completed all of the recipes for today. I've got everything laid out here in front of me to show you one more time. We just pulled the little plum custards out of the oven. So normally, of course, I would say let them cool down to like roomish temperature and then pop them out. It's much easier that way. And of course, these would be better chilled. But I did get them out intact while they were still hot. So you've got kind of these nice little guys, right? So these size, I think, especially if you're trying to have a little treat, but kind of portion size out for yourself. So they smell really good too. They're like really plummy, cinnamony. Man, this is great. So I'm excited to try this guy again. So these are right. But then we had our pizza first. So we've got our couple slices of pizza right there, all cheesy, and all those roasted sauteed vegetables and the salad, right? Salad pizza, weird, but it works. Of course, we've got our zucchini tomato, our ribbony salad. Trying to hold it down for you guys so it doesn't fall off. There we go. So a lot of good veggies, a good side for maybe some grilled meats, if that's what you're gonna have on any particular day. And then of course, our cottage cheese bowl. I think this one would be great for like lunch meal prep. Like if you're going for work and you need to have something just kind of tossed all together in one container, this one's a really nice one to have.
And you can spread it throughout the day.
And you can spread it throughout the day if you need to. Yeah, it doesn't have to be all at once, especially if you can't eat it all at once and you kind of need to like lunch part two, you know, if you can't eat a lot at one time, which I know for some people is a struggle, whether you've had surgery or even for folks who are on their weight loss medications and going that route, they can't eat so much at one time either. So definitely you could parse that out if you needed to, but that is it for today. We got a really good plant count, I think, which is fantastic. We got some really great foods. I'm hungry. So you guys, thank you so much for sticking with us today. I'm going to go off camera so I can eat. Okay. See you guys later. Stay cool. See you next month.